What's up, Tommy? Welcome to Take a Breath with Joe and Tom.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. We got a lot of things to talk about today. I wanted to start with a few things. You and I were talking this week. Depending upon the business, I mean, there's this huge debate lately. Well, not lately, but in the last few years about cold calling. Whether it's dead. Cold calling versus cold emailing. And depending upon the industry that you're in and what you're selling, obviously, I always use the example, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but if you're selling chimney sweeps or something like that, right, cold calling could be effective. But when you're selling stuff that like we are, that, a lot of people may not know that they need it, may not know it exists. And then you kind of have to go into, what it is and why it's important.
Right.
And this is just more of an observation and something I think is worth saying, but I think that podcasting, kind of like what we're doing here, is one vehicle to take the place of cold calling.
Right.
And the reason why I think that is, first of all, cold calling, especially with what MergedAnalytics is, let's say, it could be somewhat technical, and you need to kind of lay out some scenarios and before you get to that, before somebody on the other line would even let you go that far, they would want to really understand who you are.
Right.
So anyway, that was just something I one bullet that I have on the doc is just how podcasting is being used lately, I think, by a lot of B2B organizations.
Absolutely. I mean, it is. I mean, if you're not podcasting, you're not today, right?
Right.
But it does give you a chance to kind of somehow get introduced, warmly to Joe and Tom.
Yeah.
Invite Joe and Tom into your living room and listen to what they have to say. And some days you might say, hey, that makes sense, and other days not. But it does give you a chance to kind of understand who we are at that personal level. And that's not easy to do over a cold call. I mean, people's time is so important today. Everybody's got juggling so many different things. Cold calling, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that argue against it, but cold calling just isn't that effective when you match it up against how much time you spend trying to penetrate one actually deal. And in today's environment, I mean, podcasting is a tool of today. There are so many amazing tools that you can string together and piece together, analytic tools, outreach tools, connecting those data points all together before you even make a cold call. So there are so many tools. Like back in the day, I mean, cold calling is what you did because that's what you had. You had a phone.
It's the only thing you could do.
That's the only thing you could do. So you did it, and those who could do it well were successful. You could do that, or you could walk door to door, whatever. But today, we've got so many tools. I mean, podcast one of them to introduce Joe and Tom to an audience. And we've got tools like MergedAnalytics. And MergedAnalytics, it certainly isn't a one-size-fits-all, but you start adding other, tools together and pull it into a little portal. You have a lot of intelligence and information about somebody with need before you cold call them. And guess what? When you make that phone call, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I do. This is on my radar. I have been thinking about this.
Right.
Call me back, or I don't have time, or you know what? Now is a good time. Yeah.
Well, and we talk all the time. I mean, yes, we have a great product, but the fact is people are buying you and me. And what I find is when I do make contact finally with our prospects or whatever, they already feel like they know me.
Yeah.
And MergedAnalytics because of stuff they've probably seen on LinkedIn. And so that's just podcasting, especially in long form, even short form, but it's a way to get to know us, feel comfortable with us, what we're saying, and say, you know what, I kind of like those guys. Let's see what they have to say.